just to like preface this, I'm a very awkward person, so I might just like awkwardly like look and not know what to say. Cataract surgery at 30 years old. Completely life-changing, absolutely terrifying, humbling to the utmost degree. I'm a graphic designer, illustrator. My work involves me creating visuals, all about the visuals. And yes, of course, there's the day-to-day aspect of well, but like I couldn't do my job. I couldn't do what I love. I couldn't do what I enjoyed. And it was hard. I spent a lot of days in bed, which was also a blessing in disguise, I guess, because I got to rest. I don't necessarily like to rest because I always feel like I'm not doing enough. So I got to rest, which was good. But the whole experience, wouldn't wish on anyone. Adding the fact that that whole experience was during the pandemic, it was like extra humbling, right? So like a lot of people were at home, our whole lives changed for like 2 years, probably going on 3 years, let's be honest. And so there was that, then there was the aspect of me having to go through surgery. Yes, a very quick and easy surgery compared to just surgeries in general, but still surgery nonetheless during a whole pandemic for a virus. So it's made me question a lot of things, like things that I would do just for the sake of doing, working at a job just for the sake of working at the job, like those little things that like, if they don't bring me joy, why am I doing it? If it's not something that literally puts a smile on my face and makes me happy, why am I putting my energy towards it? Why am I putting my time, energy, my thought process? Like I'm an overthinker. So if I'm putting all that energy into something, I have to freaking like it. You know what I mean? I have to enjoy it. Cause like, if not, what's the point? Like something can happen to you literally like that. And then what? I need to do things that bring me joy. And I need to just do things too, because I'm a homebody. I like to stay home. I don't really leave the house much, which is like good and bad. But I think, especially during the summer, like I need to get out more. And it's not to say I have to go and spend money, but like going more for walks, like stuff like that, that literally makes my body feel good. In the moment when I'm thinking about having to go for the walk, I'm like, oh, I don't want to, I'm lazy. But during the walk, after the walk, like, you feel good. You know your body needed it. Even if it was just 15 minutes, like it's worth it, right? So it's doing those little things that maybe in the moment it's annoying, having to like change your clothes and go outside and like maybe get a bottle of water, and having to take a break from work, even though I love what I do, I need a break from it. It makes you kind of just rethink things and prioritize joy, because I think that's the most important thing for me, at least, is to prioritize joy. Of course, there are moments where like things are hard, like running a business for plush dolls. Like it's expensive. It's not easy. Being a team of one is not easy, but the grand scheme of things and me just like looking at the dolls and seeing how people really enjoy them, adults, kids, like all ages, just makes it worth it. And then just like looking at it and just looking at the dolls and seeing them on just the shelves in my office. And I'm like, young me would be freaking happy. I think that's the hugest thing. Like, regardless of what other people say about the dolls, how they feel about them, yes, it's definitely a bonus and it's a plus. But like thinking about Danielle as a little kid, the girl who was like made fun of because of her nose, because of her lips, because of her skin color, like she would be so happy and she would have loved these dolls. So at the end of the day, like it's for her, right? It's for little me. Subconsciously, I was doing it for me. I was doing it for the little girl who like needed these things. I was doing it for the people in my community who didn't get access to those things. Cause like, if it's not there, fine, I'll make it. I'll figure out a way to make it. But I only really think about that aspect of I'm doing it for younger me, I'm doing it for her, when I sit down and really sit back and pay attention. Because a lot of times it's like go, 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 go. But it really is for me. Like these dolls, regardless if they look like me or not, they're for me. They're for the little girl who wish she had those things. They're for my mom who wish she could buy those things for me. For my mom who I wish she had those dolls. For my grandmother, for like literally generations, right? They're for the little girl in me who needed them because literally the world was against her. For literally just surviving and living, like not doing anything, but just walking down the street or like walking in class, like doing nothing out of the ordinary than anyone else. She needed those dolls. She needed the thing to hold and to comfort and to feel safe with. I've tried a whole bunch of different things in regards to not necessarily businesses, but just like trying to sell my artwork or trying to sell clothing and stuff like that, which I still kind of do, but I've realized I want to kind of cut that out and really focus on the brand with the dolls. But I don't want to fail. Like, no one wants to fail. No one wants to put so much energy, time, money into something for it to not work. That's the biggest stressor. I don't want to fail, but I also don't know what I'm doing. I have no generational experience with building a business. Like, I'm the first one that I know of in my family that's built a business. I mean, back home, like, my great grandmother would sell like baked goods, but that's like as far as it goes. And I didn't know her. So like, this is like the first of my family to really start something like this. Something's going in a good direction because people are willing to put their hard-earned money, their hard-earned cash into me. And like, that's a whole other thing that you don't want to fail that. You don't want, because like, money is money, but working for it is hard sometimes. And like, sometimes you're doing multiple jobs and all that stuff. So it's like, the fact that you decide to give me the money that you worked for in order to purchase something from me, for me to send it to you, is a huge stressor all on its own. Because yes, it's rewarding and it's joyful, but it's scary. Like, I send it to you. What if it doesn't come to you in time because you need it for a specific reason, like a party or an event? What if it gets lost in the mail? Like, there's some things that I just can't control. But at the end of the day, like, I'm always grateful because you gave me your money, the money that you worked whatever hours for, to help me keep this going. Regardless of how stressful it is and how scary it is, those moments of like, okay, someone is putting their faith in me helps me keep going. Because there are moments, as much as I love this and as much as it's for the younger me and it's like very rewarding, there are moments where I'm just like, I can't do this. This is not gonna happen. It's gonna suck to fail and I'm gonna have to tell people and it's gonna be embarrassing, but like, no, I can't do this. And then I get a sale. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe it's hard, but maybe I can. So it's stressful because I don't want to fail, but at the same time, it's like, if you fail, it's okay. And you won't be as stressed anymore. So it's like, what do you want to do? But at the end of the day, I love it. So I keep going. And I think I would regret it if I stopped now. I think stopping now would be something I'd look back on in 20 years and absolutely regret it. So I have to keep going. I'm going to have lows, and that's okay. That's normal. We're all human. We're going to have lows. But it's those like back up agains that I need to keep looking forward to, and then finding the solutions or the reasons or the whatever it is for me to be able to get back up again. Whether it's writing notes on a Post-it to say like keep going, whether it's someone sends me their money and I get a sale, whatever it is, there's always going to be something to help me get back up, as much as there are going to be things that get me low again. But at the end of the day, I don't want to regret it either. Like, we have one life to live that we know of, but we have one life to live, and like, I don't want to waste it. It kind of goes back to the whole joy thing. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's scary, but it also brings me so much joy. The freedom to not have to A, have client work, B, have to go into a 9-to-5, and just soul-heartedly focusing on what I love, which is the dolls and that brand, is the ultimate goal. And also having no debt, personal debt at least. Not having any debt would be a huge thing, but I don't have a monetary goal. Like, I just really want as many people in the world as possible to see these dolls. And I don't want to have debt. Those are like my biggest things. And then of course retiring my mom. But I want to be able to be self-sufficient based off of this brand and this brand only. There's a lot of things that I do, but I just do it because you have to do it. Or like, that's the next step to do. The list of all the things to do, like, this is the next step. Or contact this supplier, contact this lab for testing, contact this forwarder, shipping company, and all that kind of stuff. Like, you do it because you have to do it, because that's the next step. Or because someone said, hey, you need to do ABC. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll do ABC. But like, if I think about my younger self, absolutely not. She would absolutely do none of this. She'd be like, what? Why are we having all these phone calls? Because like, I don't like to be on the phone. But she's like, why are we calling all these people? Why are we emailing all these people? What's the point? Why bother? So I'm a lot tougher than I think. I push a lot harder than I think. I'm a lot more resilient than I think. I think it all kind of just goes into like one kind of category. Um, I'm a doer. I'm a doer. And I think it's not just out of necessity. Like I want to do. I want to do things. I want to try different things. I want to go different places, but I want to do. And so I'm a doer. I'm resilient. I'm a resilient doer. That's definitely something I've realized. I hate that it's become a habit to pick up the phone and click the app and like scroll. Like that drives me nuts. And when I notice I'm doing it, I'll put the phone down. Like if I'm not posting anything of value or posting anything in general, like, okay, put it down. But posting online, going online and stuff, it's become my bread and butter, really. Like I wouldn't be as far as I am. I think I'd still be here, but I wouldn't be as far as I am in this business and in my businesses if it weren't for the internet, really, at the end of the day. Like I was able to have a self-published book go viral, had hundreds of orders through that, got my books into retailers. I was able to be traditionally published because of social media and because of posting and going online. I'm able to sell my brand and my products because of the internet, because of social media. But it can get addictive on the personal side. If I have to be on a specific project or if I have to be working on a specific project and there's a deadline, like my phone's in the other room and maybe I'll just have like my watch on or something, but my phone's in the other room. Do not disturb is a lifesaver, but also putting time limits, which I'm very grateful for. So on these apps, they have the time limits that you can set for yourself in order to make sure you don't go, let's say, over 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time on the app. And I think that's a huge, huge help. Do not disturb, time limits, and then just being mindful of it yourself. Like you're not always gonna, like maybe on a Friday night, you're not going anywhere and you're on your phone and it doesn't really matter. But especially during the week when you want to make sure that you're being productive work-wise, if I notice I'm just like scrolling, I'm not even really paying attention to the captions, like I'll notice it, right? I'll pick up on the fact that I'm just aimlessly scrolling. I'm not really paying attention to what I'm looking at on the screen. And then that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, no, we need to put the phone down. I notice how much I use my phone when I'm out with people. And then I've also started to also vocalize it if I'm out with someone and they're on their phone and I'm just sitting there, just like, what are you doing? So I feel like that's something that I guess you could say a boundary that I'm kind of working with and trying to figure out, but not being on my phone as much as possible if I'm with other people is a huge one. And it's something I'm very mindful of, like not putting the phone down on the table so your screen's not showing. I'm talking about putting it in your purse, putting it in your pocket, like literally just being in the moment with that person. Because like, if not, what was the point of going out? What was the point of going for that walk, going to that restaurant? You could have just stayed home and been scrolling on your phone. But no, you're out with that person. Like, be with that person. This like rat race that we're in as a society. And I'm not the person who knows all the words. I don't know all the terminologies, the right things to say. But the concept that we have to like work to live when like living should just be a right. You know what I mean? The idea that like in order to eat, which you need to eat to sustain your body to live, you need to work or get money from the government, or you need to be able to get a monetary amount to then go to the store and buy the thing that you need to survive. That whole concept to me is just like mind-boggling. Like, what would our world be like if money wasn't at the root of it, right? Like, what would our world be like if you could work anything or not work at all? Or like, what if work wasn't the center of things? Like, so much of our life is centered around work. You're in school, of course, you're learning in elementary school, you're in high school, you're learning stuff that sometimes is not even relevant to your day-to-day life, but you're in school learning. And then after that, you go into college to be able to go into whatever job or trade, or maybe you go to a trade, whatever. But point is, you're doing something to then have to be in that position technically for like the next, 3 to 4 decades, even more, depending. And then you retire, but then you're supposed to just like figure out what to do, even though like the majority of your adult life was centered around work. Like, I don't know. They're just questions that I keep asking myself, like, why? Like, why do I have to pay for food to eat? Like, why aren't at least the necessities, like the basics, like the produce, the healthy foods, like why aren't those free? And then all the junk food that isn't good for you, and let's be honest, it's not, why isn't that maybe something you have to pay for?